You must be thinking about making a move to Plattsburg, Missouri. Well, you've come to the right place because here I am in Plattsburg. I'm out in front of the title company here in town, Stewart Title. We just had a closing with one of our buyers, and I thought, gosh, I should take everybody around and show them what Plattsburg has to offer. So here I am. I'm going to show you around Plattsburg. I'm going to show you 3 different homes at 3 different price points, and I'm going to get started with you right now. Hi, I'm Max Jones with the Mojo Real Estate Team, and my partner Zach Morton and I have been in business for over 20 years helping people just like you move to the Kansas City metro area and places like Plattsburg, Missouri. And we absolutely love it. But you don't have to take my word for it. You can hop on Google and see that we have over 600 reviews online, 5-star reviews, and you can see what people have to say about us with their own words. So with that being said, let's head down to Plattsburg. We're in the downtown area here, so let's head around downtown. I'll show you around, then we'll go to 3 different homes at 3 different price points and show you kind of what bang for your buck you get in Plattsburg. And let's go. Okay, we're at our first home on the tour now that we've had a little look around downtown Plattsburg. We're at the first home on the tour, which is going to be our least expensive home, coming in at $205, and it is a split entry built in 1997. It's been on the market for just 26 days and no price reductions yet. It is 1,553 square feet over the course of 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, so that comes in at $132 a foot. It is pretty nice on the inside. It's move-in ready. It's got a privacy fence, and it sits just north of the downtown Plattsburg area. Not on acreage, just a city lot. At $132 a foot, that represents the least expensive price per square foot on our list. Man, that sun is bright. It's winter time here in Kansas City, and as you can probably tell by the trees, and it is a beautiful day, coming in at 60 degrees today. So I'm out enjoying Plattsburg, and this is our first home on the tour, so we are going to head over to the second home on the tour, which is an acreage property, and that'll give us a little bit of different context, different perspective on what kind of dollar you get for your buck out here in Plattsburg. So let's head to the second home on the tour. Okay, here we are at our second home on the Plattsburg vlog tour, and we are standing out in front of a 20-acre property, just a 2-bedroom, kind of a small little house, only 1,300 square feet, but they do have a decent sized outbuilding. I'll try and turn you around here. Let me take myself out of the frame and see if I can zoom you in on what we're looking at. Yeah, so there's the outbuilding. There's the little ranch. Looks like there's another building behind the house, and there's another little barn up here. So several structures on the property. It's got a gravel driveway. We're out on a gravel road also, and that's something to consider when you're out in the country. That can impact the, not really the price of the house as much as, let me get you out of the sun, as the price of the acreage. So typically what we'll see, this far out from the Kansas City metro, we're looking at about $7,000 to $8,000 an acre. In fact, when we started the video, I was at Stewart Title closing a buyer who just purchased some property closer to Lathrop, and it was $8,300 an acre for some really nice ground. Had a nice mixture of timber and pasture. So that's kind of the going rate for unimproved land. And so here we've got 20 acres. So if you think of that's probably not quite $8,000 an acre, but if it was, that'd be about $160,000. Plus you've got your buildings. If you wanted to kind of cobble together a valuation, you've got your buildings and then you've got your house. So if you maybe say you have $200,000 in land and buildings, then you've got what they're asking here is $450,000. So you've got about $250,000 that they're asking for the house. And to me, that seems a little on the pricey side. I haven't been inside. I think it's a pretty nice little place, but just 2-bedroom, 1 bath. And that's over $200 a square foot for a house that's built in 1973. So I think they're a little on the rich side. They've only been on the market for 15 days, so they really haven't had a chance to test the market too much. And we'll just have to keep an eye on it to see. Acreage properties are kind of going for a premium nowadays. Ever since COVID, we see a lot more people that are wanting to get out into the country. This is quite a ways out. It's about 12 miles north of, not 12 miles, 12 minutes north of Plattsburg, where we were down in the downtown Plattsburg area. So it does have a Plattsburg address, but it is quite a ways up here off the beaten path. They've got a really cool cattle ranch on the other side of this gravel road here that I'm looking at. But yeah, so with that being said, we're gonna head back down into town and we're gonna go to our third home on the vlog tour, which is a lakefront property that I'd love for you to see. So with that being said, let's head that way. Okay, here we are at our third home on the vlog tour, our final home on the tour, and we're at a beautiful property on a street called Lakeview, just on the west side of Plattsburg. And you can see why they call it Lakeview, because it backs to a beautiful lake, and it is on a 1-acre lot. It's a special property. I'll walk you up here. They're asking $525,000 for the house. It is an all brick ranch. There is some siding on the soffits, and they are all hardy board. So it is totally maintenance free exterior. It is built in 2007, and it is 3,400 square feet. So that makes it, what would that be? That would be $154 per square foot, which is really reasonable price, I would say, especially considering the lot backs to a beautiful lake like it does. It's gorgeous, and it's a 5-bedroom, 5-bath, and 3-car garage. They must have another garage around in the basement, around the back. So kind of store lawnmowers and that sort of thing. It's been on the market 28 days. Doesn't mean that it's overpriced necessarily. Things in today's market are moving a little more slowly. Plattsburg in particular moves a little more slowly, kind of just like the town. It's a little sleepy town and not quite as fast paced as the Kansas City Metro up here on the north side of Smithville Lake. But this one probably won't last. I think that's pretty good price per square foot. And all things considered, I think this one will probably go pretty quick. It looks like it's in great condition and you can't beat the lot. So this subdivision is beautiful. I'll drive you through the subdivision and give you a little more perspective, but just on the west side of downtown Plattsburg. All right, with that being said, we're gonna head back to my office and we're gonna go over a lot of the details and research that I've done on Plattsburg and give you the details on what you wanna know when considering if Plattsburgh is the right place for you. Okay, we've made it back to the office and we're gonna go over all of the facts and the details about what you're gonna wanna know when considering if Plattsburgh's the right place for you to call home. Plattsburgh is 3.63 square miles, so that's the city limits. The area of Plattsburgh and the school district, if you were to have a Plattsburgh address, is much larger than that, but in the city limits is just a small little area of 3.6 square miles, and that is in Clinton County, which is on the central northern side of the Kansas City Metro, just on the north side of Smithville Lake. And Smithville Lake is a Corps of Engineers lake, some flooded ground that is a huge lake. No houses around it, and it is a great area in and of itself. We have a video on Smithville if you want to tune into that and check out more information on Smithville Lake. but it was developed along the Little Platte River. And I believe that's where they dammed up the river, the Little Platte, and that and a couple other rivers created Smithville. Plattsburg is right along the Little Platte, so that's probably where they got the name. The population is only 2,200 people, so it's a small little town, very quaint. It was established in 1833 and used to be a college town back in the day. There was a Methodist church, a Methodist college there in 1855. And that was when the town became established. I think they called it a couple of different names, Springfield and a couple others, before they finally settled on Plattsburg. But back before then, it was the home of the Chautauqua Indian tribe. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that, but several Indian tribes in the area, the Iowa, the Fox, the Sac, then I guess booted them out. When I say we, I mean the modern man and settlers took over and established a little town there and a college, and I don't believe that college exists to this day. The schools there, though, are Eagle Heights Elementary, Ellis Elementary, Clinton County Middle School, and Plattsburg High School. And overall, the ratings are a C+ on the schools. Now, if you talk to people that have kids that go to Plattsburg, they love it. They love the small class sizes. Academically, it's very good. It's just the extracurriculars, the sports, and being such a small population, you can't have big football teams that can compete against the Kearneys and the Smithvilles of the world. It's a smaller class size, and that can have its pros and its cons. Speaking of which, we have a pros and cons video on Plattsburg, so tune into that, as well as the map video, where I'm going to mention some areas in Plattsburg that you're going to want to pay attention to, but we'll really dive into the details in the map video. There's also a Christian school, Northern Hills Christian Academy is there too, so there's a private school option in Plattsburg. But overall stats on Plattsburg, median income comes in at $54,000, which is well below the national average of $69,000. There's not a lot of large employers in Plattsburg, so a lot of people will live in Plattsburg and potentially work at the hospitals in the surrounding areas. So you've got Smithville, of course, and then also St. Joe, and Cameron is fairly nearby. So you've kind of got a triangle of larger towns, and Plattsburg is a small town that sits in the middle. Primarily farm town, lots of acreage and cattle, a lot of cattle ranches and corn and soybean farms that are around there. In fact, that is one of the original industries for Plattsburg. Is Kansas City used to be a huge beef exporter, and a lot of the cattle ranches were in and around Plattsburg. The grocery options for Plattsburg are not very many. You've got the high class foods, which is kind of similar, reminds me of Hy-Vee. So I don't know if it's a small town version of a Hy-Vee, but it's high class foods. So I drove by and took a little video snippet of the grocery store there. Shopping options, you've got the CVS, you've got the Dollar General, and then you've got Larry's number 1 on one side of the town and Larry's number 2 on the other, which is a gas station. So not a lot of shopping options in and around Plattsburg. There are lots of little antique shops, mom and pop shops that are in the city square that you can go around and check out. But if you're looking for good shopping, then you're probably going to want to head into Kansas City for your clothes and furniture and that sort of thing. As far as, you could just get on Amazon too and have it delivered directly to your door. So now that the internet shopping is becoming very ubiquitous throughout our society, really you don't have to be located right next to a shopping mall these days. But it does help if you're located close to a restaurant, because it's a little bit more difficult to order food delivered, but you can with the Grubhubs and the DoorDashes of the world. But shopping in Plattsburg, or restaurants rather, you've got the Pizza Hut, and there's a little Chinese restaurant there on the square. There's also Kennedy's Lounge, and the Backyard, which was closed when I was up it was kind of cold out, so it was closed for the season, but it's a really cool little spot with a courtyard, and they've got a little bar, outdoor bar and stuff. beers on tap and that sort of thing. So I'll have to go back up in the summertime and check out the backyard. Wasn't able to do it while I was there, but I did go into Blondie's Brews, which is a coffee place, and got a nice cup of coffee from the gals in there, and they were really nice. I think one of their relatives had just had a new baby, and they told me a little bit about Plattsburg and some of the history. Very cool, very friendly people in Blondie's Brews, so check that out. As far as housing, median housing for the city is 141,000, which is also well below the metro average, which I think's right around mid 200s, or it's actually pushing 300 now for Kansas City metro, but only 141,000 in Plattsburg. And for rent, the median rent is $665 a month, which is also well below. I think Kansas City metro must be closer to 1,200. The rent to own ratio is 67% own, 33% rent, which is a really healthy rent to own ratio as far as keeping the crime low. The crime comes in at a B-, very low crime up there. People aren't going to Plattsburg to commit violent crimes. If there is any crime, it's probably from, petty theft and things like that from high school kids farting around, but very low crime, very safe place for sure. Entertainment, there isn't a bunch of entertainment in Plattsburg, to be honest. You've got a country club there, so really nice golf course. There's a municipal pool and a bowling alley. So that, I'm not from Plattsburg. If you are, maybe you can drop a comment and say, hey, you forgot about this or forgot about that. This is entertaining, but that's pretty much all I could find other than going to a restaurant or a bar for some entertainment. There is I used to take my deer to be processed in Plattsburg. They have an awesome meat market there that would make some of the best deer jerky, and I think they may have closed, unfortunately. So I tried to look them up last year and had to go to a different spot, but they were really good. Parks in Plattsburg, you've got Perkins Park, Tedmore City Park, Fireman's Park, several parks right in and around the city square. And one of the best things about Plattsburg, and that you'll notice when being there, is they are known for their Victorian architecture. In fact, I believe they have the most registered Victorian homes of any city in the country. So not the most Victorian homes total, but the most registered. And they really take a lot of pride in their Victorian homes. They're all remodeled, and some are in the process of being in construction. They've got one of them that's been turned into a little historic museum, which they're kept in the time period, all the gingerbread ornamental trim on the exterior of the home and stuff. So it's really cool to drive through and check out the Victorian homes. I believe once a year they have an open house where people will open up their historic homes and allow people to go through and tour them. So I might have to get that on the calendar as well, because I am a fan of architecture. Being in real estate, that is one of my favorite things about it. But yeah, that pretty much sums up the facts and things that you're going to want to know about Plattsburg. It's not an all-inclusive, comprehensive list by any means, but it does touch on a lot of the highlights to give you a little flavor, a little taste of what Plattsburg has to offer. So if you want more of a comprehensive look into it, then check out our pros and cons, check out the map video, and then along with this video, that should give you a pretty good idea. But if you want even more information, feel free to reach out with the number below. You can click, you can like, you can comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we would love to hear from you. So hit us up anytime, and until then, we'll see you in the next video.